Ted, we are getting into the holiday season. It's Christmas, it'll be New Year's, and it seems like every single time people see their parents, or they even, they start thinking at this time, I got to hit some goals next year. I got to do some things. They start thinking about their assets. They start thinking about really what they want the next year and the rest of their life to look like, to be. And people are starting to think about, estates, their estates, trusts. They're thinking about all of these different things. Let's talk about that today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, it's a really important conversation to have, and honestly, it comes up in every closing. If it's just one person, it's easy because it's just individually. It's there's no real concern there. But when it's more than one person, then you have all these options that come up, right? And we've talked about it before on previous shows where you can take title as a couple people as tenants in common, which is a form of vesting where each party has an interest in the property. It doesn't have to be equal interest, but that and it's all about survivorship. Like what's going to happen down the road? Who's going to own this property if something happens to one of the people that are on title, right? So like a tenants in common scenario is where if something happens to one of the parties, the survivor's still on the title, but the other one, the interest passes to their estate, which they have to go through probate. You have to go through, get a probate attorney, go through court, takes time, money, etc. But, for some reasons, it is an important thing. There's also joint tenants who right survivorship, which, the name implies what the purpose is, where, you have, if something happens to one of the parties, the survivor is taking the full interest. It's important as you get older to think about it, and there are ways to take title, like, in a trust. It's that trust is a vehicle for, safeguarding your assets. And at the same time, you're preserving your rights down the road. So if something happens to you, there's always and you're the trustee, let's make it simple. You're the trustee of that trust. You always have, through the mechanism of the trust, the trust document itself will tell what happens next, but if you put it into trust, now if something happens, let's say to that trustee, and it does happen, you see closings like this all the time. There's always a mechanism for a successor trustee. Okay. And then there's also does the trust become irrevocable? Does it stay revocable? There's all these little elements that happen, but you can provide for all this through a simple trust, and just because you purchase the property in your individual names doesn't necessarily mean that you're stuck in your individual names. All you need to do is really just let the mortgage company, if you're financing, let the mortgage company know that you're taking the property and vesting it into your trust. Are you okay with it? Remember, you got to let the mortgage company know. Oh, sure. And that's when I say mortgage company, I'm talking the servicer of your loan, who you're making your mortgage payments to. They got to know, because that if once you make that change on title, that is, it's called the vesting. It gets recorded in the public records, and then the tax bill follows that vesting, right? So the bank, the mortgage company, the servicer will find out. So, and there's a provision in the mortgage, it's called the due on sale provision, which if you don't let your mortgage company know, they can call the loan. So you want to be transparent about it. And it's not something it's very routine.